When you look at like, because we always hear that you obviously played not too long ago, 5 years ago, right? What, 2017 was your last year?
Yeah.
Was that the year you won a ring with the Warriors, right? Yeah. And we hear about you kind of played through a whole era, then kind of, I feel like 2013, 14 is when the NBA really started to go heavily towards the three. But who's somebody who gives you, like when you came into the league, energy, like just someone who's tough, someone who's playing right now who
I just like guys that play hard because I think obviously the game has changed so much that like the game is continuing to grow, and it's because it's more offensive. You know what I mean? Like 78 to 82.
I mean, the Thunder put up 150 last night against the Celtics.
So, I mean, these low defensive grinding games they used to get don't sell. People when they turn on TV or they watch it on their phone, they want to see dunks, they want to see threes from half court.
Can you imagine if the Spurs and Pistons were in the finals in 2021? People would kill themselves.
It wouldn't work. So I say all that to say there's like it's kind of like. The guys that play like me are kind of like a last of a dying breed. You know what I mean? The 3-and-D, somewhat enforcers, tough, glue guys, guys like Pat Bev, guys like PJ Tucker.
Oh, PJ, yeah. I mean, shit, we talked about Jay Crowder.
Jay Crowder's in a similar role, like great guy, like great locker room guy, great guy, OG vet. So the game kind of has changed. So I mean, but to me, I'm not one of those guys like, oh man, they don't play defense. Not like I appreciate what it is. You know what I mean? Like these fucking kids are so talented, man. These kids are super skilled, talented, athletic as can be, and they're just they're in their way they're taking games to the new level. So I love it.
When I always because I grew up a Jordan fan. I obviously was a Suns fan, but I loved Jordan more than I loved the Suns as a kid. But I am kind of on the LeBron side of the GOAT convo.
Ooh, I'm not mad at that.
And that's just because I look at who he played in the finals. I feel like he went up against the Warriors all those years. He went up against the dynasty of the Spurs. He
had to go through Detroit.
He had to go through Detroit, who just won a ring to get to the finals.
Boston.
He had to go through Boston. I think we also got to think about like who he had on that Cavaliers team in 05 when they went to the, or was it 07? Was it 07 or 05 when they went to the finals?
I don't know. I would have to look.
It was against the Spurs, but I think that like he went through the Thunder with KD, Russ, and James Harden.
I'm not mad. I
just think that the league's talent pool is so much more higher than it was when Jordan and of course Jordan had to go through the Pistons and there was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and those guys, but I just think the talent pool, like if I love watching every team right now. I have League Pass. There's not a team that I'm not interested in because
they got a couple of guys that can go.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the Pistons are on. Well, Cade Cunningham's out, but I'm like, oh, I want to see Ivy. I want to see Bay. Like, there's like,
I get it. No, I definitely get it.
And when I was a kid, like the Clippers like sucked. Like they really sucked.
But even the teams that aren't good are still fun to watch and have good.
Right now, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what was the question though?
No, I was gonna say like, do you feel like the talent, because you played through so many, like 15 years, do you feel like the talent pool nowadays is just off the charts deeper than it's ever been? Or is that just recency bias because we're watching basketball every night?
I think the skill level might be as high as we've ever seen it. Talent, you think back to the late 80s, early 90s, and then I don't even want to disrespect no era because every era had talent, but yeah, I'm thinking like, young Mike in that era. There was a lot of motherfuckers in that era, but I think often we're kind of prisoners of now and what we've seen of late. You know what I mean? So obviously there's a lot of talent on both sides, but I just feel like the skill level, the athleticism, all this shit is just it continues to grow.
I think like back in the day, like the Cavaliers were like a big deal for the Bulls to go against with Craig Elo and Brad Daugherty.
Doherty, yeah.
Or whatever the fuck his name was. I used to play with him on NBA Jam when I was a kid. But I'm like, nobody's going to be like, both of those guys are all-time greats. Nobody's saying, I mean, they were good at the time.
Right.
But I think now, and I'm just like, yo, like, if you look at all three of the All-NBA teams every year, it's like, fuck, like, the fact like KD can get left off because he was injured. You know, it's just like the fact Damian Lillard is like not in the top 10 right now.
I think the game has just continued to evolve. And,
it's just crazy. Because
and
Damian
these
Lillard's
guys
like an all-time great point guard.
There's
but
no question. But back to my original point, like to me it's MJ, and there's no order, but in these three, I can give with arguments for either of them: MJ, Kobe, and Mike.
Right.
As far as to me, those are the.
Well, you said MJ, Kobe, and Mike. So you
MJ,
said
Kobe, and LeBron.
Right.
Excuse me, MJ, Kobe, and LeBron. Like to me, I could see Jordan being one. I could see some people have Kobe number one. Some people have LeBron number one. You know, I could see. To me, those three guys are, with all due respect to everyone else, at the top of the pyramid. You know, you hear guys like, you know, and you never want to disrespect legends or people that come before you, but I just feel like some of those older players, like when you talk about the top 75 list, some of those older players that were like foundational for the league and
like almost like the meaning to the league outweighs their actual talent.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like there's no way you can leave a Dwight Howard or a Vince Carter or a Tracy McGrady.
Well, the Dwight thing's crazy for sure.
So
he was the best center for 10 years.
Yeah, so it's just like there's so much stuff that, you know, to me, because like you said, the talent level is so much on a night-to-night basis better than it was, you know, back in the 50s, 60s, you know, coming into the 70s. It's just like a lot of these current guys that got left off, you look at it, it's just like, no, those guys really weren't better than these guys that left off. It wasn't even close.